Kimball Theatre is an interesting space because it began as a movie theater and it was only fairly recently renovated backstage into something of a live theater.
Kimball is a difficult space for lighting. Doing complicated lights has taken a lot of problem solving.
I was in 9 a year ago, and then I was in Bright Star this last semester. We used the Kimball stage for both of those performances. If somebody was to make an entrance through the audience from the back of the theater, they'd have to come all the way outside in their costumes and everything, which just proposes a bunch of different problems.
I've really enjoyed working there. The Kimball definitely has its faults. There was a time last spring when we were doing tech and I was standing on the stage and it was raining outside, and I look out into the audience and it is raining in the house.
In the fall semester, I took the Intro to Lighting class. My schedule was a little bit packed, so I had to walk all the way from the end of the Sunken Gardens to the Kimball in 10 minutes. So that was a fun rush every other day.
In our current dispersed state, we have coursework happening across several buildings on campus. Our acting classes have been meeting in the basement of Campus Center inside the Little Theater. Our technical classes related to lighting and those aspects of production have been meeting primarily inside the Kimball itself. And then for things like stagecraft, costume crafts, costume construction, we've been meeting off campus in the area that was formerly the Dillard Complex,
which is like a 7 to 10-minute drive from campus. We take a van.
So right now I've had a lot of theater classes in Little Theater. Whenever we're rehearsing for a show, we map out the stage of Kimball inside Little Theater, which is smaller than the stage of Kimball. So it's been really difficult to block out all of our stuff in Little and then move it into Kimball.
It's very hard as a lighting designer to be able to get shows currently. It's really hard because there aren't secondary spaces. So for example, my first lighting design was on the Kimball, so that's a lot of pressure. It's basically going from not having designed anything before to doing the main shows of the entire season.
So my music classes mostly have been here in Ewell. We have 3 classroom spaces, and then there's also kind of a rehearsal room. They're not super well suited to teaching music. Some of the layouts are a little bit weird. One of them doubles as the choir room. Because we have to share so much space in this building with other groups, you pretty much have to pack up everything every time you want to have rehearsals.
So we love the studio that we have in Adair. Our students live in this studio, they create in the studio. It really has been wonderful, but it's been very full, and we haven't been able to expand the program because the space is limited. Since the PBK was torn apart, we have performed in the Kimball Theatre for all of our dance concerts. So that has become our second home. Unfortunately, on the stage right side of that theater, there's no space, so you leap off stage and you hit a wall. Our students have created pieces that have been very one-sided in the way that you can work.
And one thing about Kimball Theatre is that there isn't a designated space for the pit orchestra to exist, so we had to move the pit orchestra onto the stage, where we had the moniker Pit Will Fit because we wanted to believe so hard that it would fit. It just took a lot of cramping and checking with one of the violinists saying, "Hey, is the bass drum hitting you?" And she's like, no. But you could tell that it kind of was.
So I recently had the opportunity to conduct the pit orchestra for production of HMS Pinafore. Working in Kimball is an experience, to say the least. We had to be very cognizant of how we set up the pit orchestra because the way that the roof works, it kind of just like sucks all of the sound up behind the proscenium and none of it goes out into the audience if you're not careful.
Of course, right now classes are spread over campus. Just about all of those classes are going to end up in PBK itself. We are going to be tremendously better equipped than we have ever been.
In addition, of course, to the reunification of our program, we will also finally be inhabiting the same building as our colleagues from dance and be able to collaborate in a much easier fashion than pre-Kimball days.
So we will be moving offices, we'll be moving all of our costumes and sets, and everything will be going over there. Classes will also be held. We have 2 new studios and a warm-up space as well, which we've never had over here in Adair. With the new building, we are looking forward to being with our colleagues in theater and also so close to the other arts, to music, to the museum, and to be able to begin some more cross-collaboration.
Right now it's really hard to do every type of theater on the Kimball stage, because theater is designed for different spaces, right? Like some shows are better in the round, some are better in a black box theater where you don't have all of the extra things that the Kimball has, like a chandelier, which can sometimes take the audience out of the experience of the show. So I can't wait to have these extra spaces.
I'm excited to be in a space that consistently supports us, just sonically and spatially. We'll have more room to actually exist, which is really nice.
What I'm looking forward to is getting to PBK and being able to teach pretty much all of my classes that have to do with lighting or photography in the light lab itself, where we will have equipment all the time ready to go set up rather than having to jump through some hoops to make all that happen.
I think our students have really missed having a home base, and so that's one of the things we're most looking forward to, is having that chance to just communicate with each other.
I'm gonna miss the historic beauty of Kimball. When this has been our home for the last couple years, there is this sentimental quality to it, but I'm ready to move on.
I think what I'll miss most about this building is the music library. That's going away when we go to PBK. The equipment that we have in the music library is kind of being integrated with the Reader Media Center in the basement of SWIM. There is some space in PBK that we've been told about. I know there's a theatrical library, which I hope will serve a little bit of the same function, but I'm definitely going to miss kind of the coziness of the music library with the couches and the tables. It's been really, really important for me for these last 2 years.
Downstairs, we have our practice rooms, and these practice rooms are not soundproof, and they are also right next to each other, so you kind of hear everything that's going on around you, but that does also kind of facilitate some chance encounters that you wouldn't necessarily experience otherwise. Like I would run into my friends in practice rooms when I was trying to like peek over to see if they were open. Just like that little bit of camaraderie. I don't know if there's going to be a space set up similar to that, but either way, what we had right now was really nice, and I will miss that.
There's kind of a trauma bonding element, I think, with a lot of the people in the theater department. I'm in here like alone at night a lot. I've befriended all of the ghosts.
Althea Hunt is the ghost that haunts PBK, and she moved over to Kimball when we came here. She lives in the elevator, so sometimes if you're like riding up the elevator, it'll like shake really bad and like it's terrifying. But that's Althea saying hi.
I definitely think I'll miss the Kimball just because of all like the memories that are tied to it, but I'm really excited to move into this new space.
Moving into a bigger and better space will ultimately be a lot better for the theater department and a lot of the students here, but I will always have treasured memories of this place.
I am so grateful that we were able to make an arrangement with Colonial Williamsburg to be able to use this space. It's been wonderful working in Kimball, but I look forward to having the whole complex back together again.